Hey, this is lifetime Cowboys fan Jim Saxton with Jim Saxton State Farm. You want insurance knowledge and old school service? Give us a call.
Coleman, I think it's nobody's business what time of day or night that we're recording this episode. Nobody needs to know. We just, you guys are 2 hours behind us on the West Coast, and there's a lot to talk about, regardless of what hour.
Let's get to it. Let's get to it.
Hey, Campin with the Cowboys and MC in Oxnard, brought to you. You saw him, Jim Saxton State Farm. You see him on the lower right, his logo.
Hey, Jim.
Jim, your biggest fan, MC.
There you go.
He called today and told me to tell you hello. That
tell him my good regards and sorry about his little puppy, his little pooch, man. It's bad.
Hey, thoughts and prayers for the Saxtons. They lost their dog.
Yeah.
That's tough. But he said, man, come back to Austin. He misses seeing your face here.
Well, I miss Austin. I haven't been back to Austin so long. It's still changed. I'm scared to go back to Austin. It's changed.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of. It's a city now.
Oh, it is a big time. 10th largest city in the country?
That's what when I heard that the other whatever radio station I was listening to, and I know somebody on the radio, the syndicated, was saying cities that need a professional team, and Austin was on that list. And Austin's it's the 10th largest city in the country. I was like, Austin's the 10th largest?
Wow, doesn't it?
I said, well, they already got a pro team. It's called the University of Texas Longhorns. So they don't need a pro team like that.
I just don't think it would work. Now we have MLS now.
That's right.
Supply and demand. They did well. Beautiful, smaller, 20,000 seat stadium. They fill it up. I'm just not a big soccer guy, but a lot of people love it.
Of course, doing what I do for a living. I got to pay attention to it. But yeah, like I tell people, when I was growing up as a kid, we did soccer at recess.
Yeah.
I knew who Pele was. I knew he was.
Global star.
But that's a short list. But it's funny because we have seen the evolution and the growth of soccer, especially on the women's side. The women's U.S. Cup team. They're pretty tough. And so. And then I know weeks ago I did a story on a Ecuadorian soccer team that was doing a camp for kids, middle school kids at whatever school they were at, and they gave me a player to talk to. Player didn't understand a lick of English. I didn't understand a lick of Ecuadorian or whatever the term is. So they brought a guy in the house on their team, and she translated, And what I got out of it, and then I talked to the guy because he was a player too. And what I got out of it was, he says, we keep up, with the U.S. women's soccer team. We love them, and so we try to pattern our game after them. Yeah, wow. I was like, wow. I said because
influential.
Well, I said because where we're from. What you're telling me is falling on deaf ears because you're from Ecuador, and I'm thinking you guys got it together. He says, no, we really don't. We like to play, but we don't have our strategy down like the women are able to do. We watch them, and and the men are kind of getting some traction. So it was bizarre to hear that a couple of guys from soccer haven of their country pays attention to U.S. soccer. That was
the women's
team. And the women's team on top of it. So nothing against women. We're just talking about notes and how
We're talking about ratings.
So soccer is huge. St. Louis is a huge soccer town. Kansas City's a pretty big soccer town. They have the Sporting KC. As you cover them.
Yeah.
So they got weird names, and the outfits are called kits. I don't get it. They call them kits. KIT. It's like the shirt, the jersey is called a kit. but they have been some
Uniform.
very exciting games for Sporting KC when I was covering them.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think Atlanta and Seattle, they do very well as far as attendance. As far as this is people will see this on a Friday. It's usually about the third or fourth day of camp for you. You're there for the majority of it. There's one subject that keeps going up, and I'm shocked. And I want to play the soundbite. How this offense is simplified. And CeeDee Lamb, the former OU receiving great, he had mentioned something in his interview. I don't know if you were in that gaggle of reporters, but there was a follow-up question. We're basically saying, were you insinuating that the offense was difficult before?
Was there some confusion in years past?
Not necessarily. It was just, we wasn't really always on the same page. Now it's a bit different. You understand, put yourself in the quarterback's shoes. Obviously, we can't play quarterback. Everybody can play quarterback, but get in the mind of why he's doing things. And I feel like they made it much more easier for us to understand.
Now, I did hear him say that. Yeah.
That was interesting to me.
Well, you know what it is. How should I put it? Because Dak probably the same boat. He had said a few weeks ago, and it came across to some like he's putting the receivers under the bus for those interceptions, and because he was making the reference that, they weren't all my fault. There were some tip balls, and so I don't. They all revere Dak, so there's nobody being animosity-fied against him. It's just when we as reporters, or those of us who are trying to be reporters, ask you a question, you're probably thinking, why are they asking me this question? Because they're at our mercy. They have no idea what we're going to ask them, And so, for instance, I think they should change a tipped pick, give it its own stat.
That's a good point.
Because a sack used to be called a tackle. Now it's a sack of the quarterback. It's a sack. And I think they need to change that stat. I think those 12 picks that Dak had, I think 4 of them, I think were tipped. And so that's on the receiver. And so if you're gonna give the quarterback a stat for incompletions, well, help him out with a tip pass pick.
Yeah,
it wasn't his fault.
It's not the same.
So, I'm surprised they haven't really helped out the quarterback in that respect. The game is catered to them now. That's who it is. But no, I think Dak is. I like Dak. Everybody likes Dak, and he says he's not going to quit being aggressive. And I like that. He said, I'm even Mike McCarthy's like, hey, you know what? Adversity is going to happen.
Always.
The key for us, how do we bounce back from it? And that's what it's about. Yeah, because it'd be one thing if teams are scoring every time off of those picks, whether it be running them in or field position for the offense. Oh, it's like there's 20 picks that this team has gotten from the Cowboys, or 2 teams from the Cowboys, and they outscore the Cowboys X, Y, and Z. But they're generally like 3 and out.
Yeah.
They don't knock on the doors. I remember when Tom Penders was at Texas.
Yeah.
Remember Tom had it rolling, he had it going on, and he saw the Arkansas. They had some great games, and I asked him something about rebounding because they were out rebounded by like 12 or 13. And I love Tom Penders to death.
Love that man.
Oh, just a great guy. And he's like, well, and they won the game. They won the game, and his point was, it's more important to get a defensive rebound because you prevent the other team from scoring.
Yeah.
Now, they out rebounded us, but we won the game. He said, so don't let rebounds be the narrative of your story. in terms of the bigger picture, And same thing with interceptions. It's 12 interceptions in 15 games. That is quite a bit. But what if he had played all 17 games? I mean, somebody said there'd been more interceptions. I'm not sure I'm diplomats. Oh man, they always say that. But I think it's good and the fact that McCarthy's going to be calling the plays. That was my subject for the story tonight. He'll know not to put Dak in a position to fail or to throw a pick, And a pick's going to happen. It just happens.
It's inevitable.
But yeah, it is. And so we're going to see if there's going to be a difference now with Kellen Moore calling plays versus Mike McCarthy. I think McCarthy is I like him. I think he's a good coach. And when he got hired, it was like, oh, it's not as sexy. Well, wait, sexy what? We talking about a nightclub? We talking about a football team. You want sexy, go to the club.
You're not going to get it with Jerry.
Right. Yeah. And Mike McCarthy is the kind of guy that would be a Dallas Cowboys coach under Jerry Jones. He has more of a sense of humor now than he did when he first came on board. He'll say things at his media presser, and we're laughing. So and I remember the first time. I think 3 years ago was the first time I noticed that. I said, "Wow, he's kind of looser." I was able to strike up a conversation with him last year, impromptu, working at my little station. And I saw him walk by us, and he walked by us again, and he was coming back again. So okay, I got to get him. I said, Coach, you got to come. Yeah. I mean, this is like I'm the only one seeing this guy. I got my phone. No. Arthur was with me, and the reason why I reached out to him, I did a story on him when I worked in Kansas City. He went to Bald. I don't know if he coached there or went to school there, but he had an involvement there in football at Baker University in Baldwin, Kansas.
Oh, that's true.
Yes, and that's about 20 miles from my hometown of Lawrence. But when I was in Kansas City, he had donated a weight room to that school. Green Bay Packers coach Mike McCarthy, an alum of this. Oh, wow, okay. So fast forward, I get a chance to corner him. I said, and I told him, I said, I did a story on you with Baker University. That just dropped. Jaw just dropped, because there was something he could relate to. And he said, how do you know about Baker University? So, I grew up in Lawrence. I said, oh, okay. And I said, word got to us that you had paid for and donated to the school. And I went to the school and did a story on it. And then I got to talking. So you're from Lawrence. I said, yeah. Oh, man, my daughter, she went to KU. And so every day last year, if he saw me, he'd call me Rock Chalk. Hey, or Rock Chalk or Jayhawk, maybe both. But so that was a common ground. And so that little window that he let me in told me he's a good guy. Yep. He wasn't gruff. He wasn't pissy or anything. And so, meanwhile, the Dallas media, like two guys from Dallas media, after I get through talking to him, so, what do you say? What do you say? I said, news at 10.
Yeah, that's what I'll tell you. You'll find all about it.
Yeah, so,
and we'll be tweeting about it.
But, I like Mike McCarthy. I think he'll succeed. I don't know. I just have a feeling about this team. Because the three best teams in the NFC, based off last year, again, I think we talked about this. Niners, Eagles, Cowboys. Maybe it's too bad that Brock Purdy was not made available for the Cowboys game. Who knows? Maybe they could have got over that hump. But there's a banner at practice. I put it on Facebook. It's a Chiefs banner behind the practice field of the Cowboys. I said, wow, what if the Cowboys and Chiefs were to lock horns in the Super Bowl? This state would go crazy.
It could happen.
It could happen. It could happen. There's no doubt about it. It could happen.
God.
For sure.
All the storylines, the tie-ins to history and current. when you talk about running backs, it was after Pollard recovering from a broken leg, and they let Zeke go, but Zeke apparently tweeted Pollard today. He said,
that's what I read. Yeah. So, these guys know it's a business. They're teammates, they're friends, and it's like a newsroom. When I got kicked out of in Austin, I did get re-signed in Kansas City. The people I worked with said my friends, and that's the way it is with sports, especially in sports. Now those two soccer ladies that punched each other out last night, I don't know if they're going to still be friends.
That was definitely not all for show.
Oh my goodness, that was crazy. That was crazy. But I think Dak's going to do well. Zach Martin, that's a question mark.
On the line.
Who do you put in that? Who do you put in that position that can hold it down until he comes back? Because he's coming back. He's coming back, but on his time. And every day he's gone, there's a $50,000 fine. Ching ching. So he's gonna need that raise. He's gonna need that raise.
He's gonna need it. But you know what? I don't blame him. I don't blame him.
Oh no, not at all. Not at all. I mean, pay this man like he's a 6-time Pro Bowler because he is. And they'll find a way. Kansas City's in the same boat with Chris Jones. Chris Jones wants to get paid.
You have to in that short because your lifespan in the NFL is so short.
Well, it is short, and the thing is, whether you're fighting management, you're up Gruntled and all that, just know ain't but a handful of y'all get a chance to be on somebody's roster.
Yeah.
Enjoy the atmosphere while you can, and don't let a third of your career be you bickering that you didn't get the money you wanted.
God, Arena Football League is coming back. So,
yes,
you can always play for one of their rosters.
Yeah, right.
So Tony Pollard, he was asked about how he was feeling now that he's back, and he's short to the point. One of the shortest sound bites I've ever heard or seen.
Being smart with the trainers, not trying to push it too much, but just trying to ease back into things and just go from there.
Wow.
To the point.
To the point. Go from there. Yeah. Well, the game's changed, man.
Yeah.
The game has changed. I mean, it's kind of like I saw an article this morning on flying cars could be available in 2025. Wow. And I saw the model of this car. I said, oh my God, that sucker's sweet. But you're going to have a pilot's license, not a driver's license, but a pilot's license to be up in the air. But the capital money that was being collected over the years, it wasn't like it happened overnight. All this money has been generated now. Some Ford company, motor plant somewhere in the country, like in 2018, they had like 40 orders for a space car or whatever. I don't know if they want to call it. They got like 400 now. $30,000. Now, what happens when you run out of gas in the air?
See how? Yeah, tell me.
What happens? We run out of gas. When anybody tell us what to do,
it's going to take a nosedive. Is that how it's going to happen?
That's what's going to happen, man. So, but I've always been fascinated by two things as a kid, and one came true. And if this car thing happens, it will come true. I used to watch the Jetsons as a kid.
Yeah.
Who didn't, right? The watch, and even Dick Tracy, the watch and the flying car. It's like, oh man, that's futuristic stuff.
Peering in the window of our future, which is now, really.
It's now. Oh yeah.
You know, we're getting used to this. We all know that first week of training camp is Dak's birthday. He's been in the league a while, and he's well liked, as you've mentioned. And so Dak has a pretty big birthday coming up this weekend. And so CeeDee acknowledged it. And, of course, Dak afterwards was, he's trying to be low-key about which age he is, what decade he's working on.
Oh, he an old man. He hate to hear it, but he's an old man. I told him if anybody's 30 years old, you would not be able to guard me, right? And I was talking as far as a defensive player. And Dak was like, easy, I'm finna be 30 soon. I said, well, you better keep warming that shoulder up because soon enough, I'm gonna be able to outrun it.
When we were on that trip to Atlanta, I think that's when it hit me. When I was out there with the receivers, working with the O2X group, they had asked, who's the oldest here? And, I had my head down taking notes and didn't even think to look up and heard a couple of coughs and heard my name.
Yeah, we chuckled at that. And it's hard to believe that he's 30.
I can't believe
goes fast. It goes fast.
I still see him at Mississippi State.
Yeah, how about that?
It's
and he's one thing. He's always been even keeled. I think what Dak's dilemma was, he was good before he was bad. Think about it.
He had a pretty quick start.
Yeah, he had a quick start. And he said later, he says, I didn't think it would be this hard to win again. I never thought it'd be this hard to win. After what happened to me, my first year, he volunteered this information. He wasn't asked to, but he said, my first year, I thought, wow. But it's hard to win a football game in the NFL. And I just thought it was going to be easy after what I was able to do. But, it's a good self-reflection of him. And how he has not only aged wisely, and he's always been respectful. Never had any problems with him or anything. He's always been a person to stand up for himself and all that kind of stuff. And and as I think also, as he said, he's had some hardships in his life.
Awesome. Mother.
Yeah. So the big thing. So and good for him. Is he thick-skinned? No, he just gets it. He doesn't shy away from the criticism, and McCarthy doesn't either. And maybe that's why these two are going to work under this tandem, like a Reed and Mahomes or Joe Montana and his guy. Those are special partnerships. Coach Walsh. Those are special relationships because you get on the same page. You can anticipate, it's kind of like you can finish the other person's sentence when you're on that same wavelength. And so, as he said, during the offseason, he was getting to know the coach and what makes him tick. And he's aggressive, and McCarthy says he's aggressive. So we'll see what that means. I think he'll do well. The defense is solid.
Oh my God.
The defense is solid.
Perhaps the best defense in professional tackle football.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And, you got Micah Parsons. We watched him grow. Remember, he played as a young kid and just continued to evolve. And that's what they got going for them. McCarthy praised the rookie class. And I think he's confident that there are rookies who will help make an impact, and not just DeMarvion, but others as well, because the locker room is safe. The locker room is safe, and it's got a good mix of free agents, rookies, and the core of the team. And then just stir it up and see what they come up with. So I think folks are going to be surprised by them.
I do too. I feel the same exact way. Before we wrap it up, just tell me what you got. What for the weekend and for the rest of it, what are you looking forward to, or as far as Cowboys practice? What are you keeping an eye on? And DeMarvion Overshown, former Longhorn. You've interviewed him before, and you just interviewed him, right?
At his draft party.
Yeah, that's right.
I was at his draft party. We did a little live hit. We live streamed it because the draft was on ABC. So we did not have a newscast, traditional broadcast, traditional sportscast. And so I went ahead and was able to connect with him at the facility, and which was the second time we had seen each other because we had just met in July. So, the draft was in April, that July of 22, I think. Yeah, 22. And so I mean, I think I told you we took a picture in the parking lot of IHOP, and so then the second time I saw him, he's about to get drafted, and he agreed to be on my show. So the third time I saw him, he's on the team. I mean, it's not the final cut, but he's gonna make the team. And so for me, I've had on three different occasions I've been in his presence when he was on his way to becoming all Big 12, when he was a draft prospect, and now he's an NFL draft at the big show. And of course I know everybody knows him and knows what he's done. Even I pulled out some of his high school highlights. I'm like, whoa. So he and I have developed a nice little bond, and maybe sometime I asked for his phone number, he gave it to me. Maybe sometime we bring him in on the show and let him share his experience, because I'm going to keep up with your career. He said, man, please do, because he's such a humble guy, man. He said, because he grew up watching KLTV, and East Texas people still watch television. They do.
Very loyal
to TV. They're going to watch it, and that in Jeopardy, and or Wheel of Fortune. And so don't dare take off with either of those two shows and put them on at midnight, or they'll give you suggestions. But can't you just put it on at midnight and I set my DVR? Man, we're not in charge of that.
We just work here.
But I'm gonna stay in touch with his career. It's funny because last Friday, the kid out of Longview, Taylor Tatum, who signed to go to Oklahoma. I thought he was gonna go USC. We came down between those two schools. They go running back stud, USC running backs, Heisman trophies. So I let the tradition and the legends, in my mind, think it's the perfect place for you. He chose Oklahoma, and now Oklahoma ain't shabby either. Oklahoma is second in Heisman Trophy winners.
Just one down year.
Yeah, exactly. And USC's number one. They got eight Heisman winners. OU's got 7. So he could just as easily win the Heisman at OU as well. So what the heck? But he's also going to play baseball, and that was a deal breaker. And he said, I want to play in the Southeast Conference. I can't wait. So he'll be in the first class of the SEC team that OU will have. So that's going to be real interesting.
That's a pretty big story. I mean, to be a part of something like that. It really is.
It's going to be crazy. How about Deion Sanders in Colorado?
God, going to the Big 12.
Coming back home.
I'm all about that.
And that's Deion. Part of that is Deion, I promise you.
So that makes it 13. Do they go for one more, or are we going to go up to 16?
I think they're going to go. I think the Arizona schools are going to join eventually.
That'll put
because now what's left of the Pac-12?
Not a lot.
USC and UCLA, they're out pretty soon as the Big Ten. So you're not going to rely on Stanford unless you're going to go to the Academic Bowl, And so they're crumbling. They are crumbling in the Pac-12, and which is a shame. But it's kind of every other year, something's going down. So when OU and Texas leave, makes room because the new 4 they're going to be there, and that's going to be interesting. It's going to be a heck of a basketball league.
Oh my goodness! My goodness!
Oh man, it's already a tough basketball league, and now
you just added to it.
Yeah, big time. Big time.
And baseball be all right. It's just the thing about the Pac-12 that I just can't quite understand on the West Coast where you are. It's the lack of interest for college football.
You talking about East Texas?
Just the East Coast.
Oh, well, but see, they don't.
West Coast.
Well, the East Coast too, though. See, the thing is, on the West Coast, they got other things that are going on to be entertained. The best part, the best region of the country for football is the South.
Oh, hands down.
They're plotting, planning, and going on a game, and they're just rocking and rolling, man. You know, those little towns. I'm trying to think what SEC team or market has a pro team. I don't think there is one.
None there, none Mississippi.
None in Alabama, none in
no Arkansas.
No South Carolina. No, that's South Carolina. No, they're not in SEC. What are they in? What's SU? The other SUC. What are they in? Like the ACC or something like that. I don't think it's ACC either.
South Carolina, they're SEC.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Cox, baby. Gamecock.
They be started with that name.
No,
but
your entire life.
So the South, they have no pro team. It's all college. You know? And if the South wasn't so scary, I wouldn't mind living there. My father was a Southern guy, you know, and but he left to go to Topeka when he was in high school. But that's where rock and rolls right there is football, college football. It's crazy.
Climate's good. It's easy to travel. Most places.
Beaches all over the place.
Talent everywhere.
Oh, talent everywhere. Everywhere.
Oh my God. MC, man, I've enjoyed this per the usual. We'll try to get some DeMarvian Overshown in the next episode.
Okay, yeah. Send me. I got your email. I'll retransfer you some. I'll transfer you some stuff that you can have.
Man, I love that. Everybody, like you mentioned, he is well liked, 100%.
He's a good dude. And I was informed of this. He last week before camp started, he supplied the school district with school supplies. And
wow.
he said, I remember when I was going to school, there were some supplies that I wanted but I couldn't get, And so he said, I hope he's not a soft touch. I hope he's not
authentic. He's an authentic kid.
He really is. So, yeah, so I'm looking forward to – as I said in my show, I really had fun with this guy tonight. And because he knew me. I wasn't just showing up to talk to a guy that's got some good things going on. We had a personal relationship as limited as it is. But now because before I even met him, and I heard his name and I saw his Twitter handle, I sent him a note. So he doesn't even know this. I said, dude, I'm gonna be keeping up with you. And when you come to town, you better let me interview you. I never heard back from him. I ain't never heard back from him. But on that Saturday in the parking lot, boom.
Oh, I forgot to save your number.
Yeah. So, all right, Mr. Sean.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Absolutely. Always for MC and Oxnard and all the Dallas Cowboys and the OG Man Cave boys, that being Hardball Hard, Big Mike, and Coach Mo. We out, MC.
Later, buddy.
Later.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up.